What's going on, people? PremPods back with another episode. Today we're going to be discussing our own teams in exclusivity, have a look at our own performances, discuss what's gone right, what could have been improved, and then we'll look at the rest of the Premier League. Let's get into it.
My first question for you is...
I'm not going to like it already, I can tell.
Nah, it's not. It's not a bad one. Did you expect this start?
No, I don't think anyone really, if you would have asked any football fan, I don't think any football fan, Liverpool or not, would have said, we still wouldn't have won in our first 3 games. United's probably the only one where you look at it and think, alright, maybe on its own, not looking at United's form and what they've been through, the past couple of years or whatever, that game by itself, you would have thought that could go either way. And then obviously it did.
No, that game was funny to watch because, even though they won, you could still see, if you just had a striker on, you could have won 5-2 or 4-2. So it's just funny to see how excited United fans got, even though they were just the better team of the 2 teams who were horrible on the night. Liverpool couldn't show to give a pass.
They were a lot more up for it from the first minute. You could tell the fans were bouncing. The players were reacting off the fans were reacting well off what the players were doing in the game as well, even just tackles and even just the running sometimes, the intensity that they were putting in the first few minutes, first few tackles, you could just tell it was going to be a different performance overall than what United have seen as well.
Well, where did you expect to be in terms of league position after the first? Now we're 3 games in it.
I would have expected to have 6 points. At least, realistically. I think that's very realistic.
Looking at the fixtures you had, you should have had 6 points. And then United can go either way in it, so...
Exactly, yeah. And even if it has, with 6 points, you still end up, especially after 3 games, which is not that important, but you still end up in the top 6, I would say.
Yeah.
2 wins out of 3.
I think the only team that's kind of surprised... Well, our teams are the teams that have surprised everyone. Because I didn't expect us to be above you and City, no matter if it was the first game or the 38th game. I wouldn't expect us to be anywhere near that first or second spot. So they've definitely thrown spanner in the works in terms of starting off the season. But as you said, what was it? Last season, Everton were first for the first 4 games.
Yeah, they won 4 out of 4. So
then they were in relegation scrap.
It could turn around pretty easily, innit? I'm not losing my mind, worried about what's happening. We should be as well at the same time because of the current situation, but that can change very quickly. And just not even performance, just injuries, stuff like that. I personally don't see us bringing in another midfielder or player, for that matter of fact, before the end of the window. But stranger things have happened.
Well, yeah, stranger things have happened. But I don't think, looking at your team, once you have your injuries that start to come back, the problem with, not really the problem, but the issue with Liverpool is that you've got a good solid 14, 15 players that will get into maybe the top 10, top 12 teams in the Premier League, innit? But when you go past that 15, top 10, yeah, because there's midfielders that are still better than you.
What do you mean 14 players?
14 players
in our starting 11
and a couple of players after
and subs.
Yeah,
would get top 10.
Yeah, in most top 10 teams, yeah, of course.
Oh, okay. Okay, well, most top 4 teams, I would have said. Most top 10.
Yeah, most top 10, yeah, because there's still midfielders in Leicester and stuff that you want. Do you get what I mean?
Okay, but if our starting 11 players, starting 14, as you say now, with the bench players or whatever, Fabinho doesn't start for nearly every team in the Prem.
No, I'm saying there's a couple of players.
Only for not City, that's it. Thiago doesn't start for everyone, basically everyone in the Prem again.
Maybe, but he's not Liverpool is a system where he plays, isn't it? Thiago gets away with it, though, isn't it?
Top 10's a bit of it.
As in Milner and Henderson, who's better? Tielemans, and he's a top 10. He's in Leicester, and he's better than both of them.
But then you top 10 again. I think you're being a bit disrespectful there in terms of Arsenal. You also you want to go for top 4, and other teams are after Tielemans, so he would be a top 4 player.
Who? Tielemans?
Yeah, not top 10.
No, but I'm saying your 14 players. There's players in there that get in the top 4, but 14 out of 15 players in your team comfortably get in the top 10. About 5 of those comfortably get in top 4.
I think
Name me all your players.
What you just said there, to be fair.
Name me all the players that get.
Alisson's the best goalie in the league. So
there's Alisson, Van Dijk, Diaz, Fabinho,
Robertson doesn't get in top 4 teams. Trent doesn't get in top 4 teams.
Not when you're looking at the left backs that Chelsea have. Yeah, Man City's left backs better.
Can't believe I'm top 10.
Top
you just
10,
said
yeah. Comfortably, yeah. There's about 5 or 6 players that get into the top 4.
That's still an insult, personally.
Why?
Top 10.
Yeah, top 10, yeah. Why not?
That's crazy to me, honestly.
Why?
Like, I know we've been in bad form in it and whatever else. It's only 3 games, but we're already now dropping our best 14, 15 players comfortably getting top. They're not top 4 players. All of them ain't top 4 players.
Not all of them, no. No, not all of them. That's what my opinion is, isn't
top 4 for how many years? Top 4 is minimum, in fact. We're challenging for the title nearly every year. So how are they not?
No, but what you're probably misunderstanding my point, innit? There's 5, 6 players in your team that will get in most of the teams in the Premier League.
Say every team, pretty much.
Well, yeah, they'll get in every team. But then your squad,
City, I would say every team then as well, because City is the only team, in my opinion, in the past couple of years, in the past year even, that's starting 11, and even a couple of players on the bench, that is better than our starting 11. That's what we've had for the past few years, consistently. We've had one of the best.
But remember the squad is 25 man. That's what I'm saying. The difference between your 15 and 25 is the fact that those 10 players don't get into the top 10 because they're all academy players. You don't have a squad. It's not in depth.
I don't think you can say that about many teams.
You can. Man City, Chelsea, Man United, they have way better squads than us. Do you get what I mean? There's a 25 man squad. You lot have about 15.
You can have better player squads on paper. Whether it
on paper,
in practice is another thing. In it.
But that's what we're talking about, because we're in 3rd game in the season. We haven't played 38 games, isn't it? If we played 38 games, we'd be speaking that, if Liverpool finished top 4, all your players would be top 4 players. Right now, they're not playing up to the standard. So you'd have to say, unless you sign someone, there's like a lot of players in your team that wouldn't get into the top 4 players, into the top 4 team, sorry. There's a big gap in it. Do you get what I mean?
So wait, are you saying the top 4 that is right now, for example?
Who's not even top 4 right now, no. As in, like, who's considered as a top 4, innit? As in, like, Man City. You say last season, innit? Man City, Chelsea, and Tottenham, innit? That's the 3 teams. Can't get into your own team; they're already in there, innit? But what I'm saying is that Liverpool they don't have the 25 man squad in it. That's what I'm trying to say. There's 15 decent players in it.
Okay, who does?
Man City, the people that win the league.
That's it. No one else does.
Man, Chelsea has that as well.
Please, man.
Chelsea
Did you not see their squad against Leeds on the weekend?
But we're talking about on paper, innit? On paper, half of your team are from the academy. Even your bench, there's players on the academy.
Yes, again, we've had 10 injuries at least. Like, the bench is normally, you have Kelleher, who's out. You have what's his name? The new signing. What's the fella's name?
Who, Carvalho?
No, Calvin Ramsey, sorry, who just signed. So he would normally be on the bench. Obviously, he's a new signing, so whatever. Then you still have Keita, you could say, is on the bench. Curtis Jones is on the bench. Chamberlain is on the bench.
Keita doesn't get him many. Curtis Jones doesn't get him many. Firmino doesn't get him many. And that's your bench.
Jota, if Nunes
Jota gets him a lot, yeah. Jota's alright.
Like, I'm a bit.
Jota's alright, innit? I don't lie. But the thing is, what you have to remember is they work in Liverpool's system. Jurgen Klopp is a very good manager, and he's good at getting the best out of players. You can say that
about anyone. Take City players. You could say that about all of them. How do we know?
That's what I'm saying. You don't know, innit? But it's my opinion, though, innit? That's all I'm giving you, innit?
Sterling hasn't.
That's all I can give you, though, is my opinion.
Scored a goal yet in Prem.
But that's all I can give you is my opinion. That's my opinion. It might be biased towards you or unbiased, but I'm telling you that the Liverpool
team... It's recency bias, but that is what
Arsenal but the Liverpool team...
fans are usually like, to be fair. So.
The Liverpool team has... Do you have 25 men in the team that are like...
25 players that what?
That are in the top 4 that you're saying?
No.
That will play for the top 4?
No.
Do you have 15 players that will be in the top 4?
Yes.
So where's that gap within the 10? There's 10 players that don't make it in the top 4, but you're top 14.
I don't really get your point here, because to be
honest... You
have
a 15-man squad, that's my point.
Tell me who else has this
Man
big
City,
25?
Chelsea.
No, they don't. I don't know where you're getting this from.
Right.
I don't know where you're... Okay, Tottenham do. The Tottenham, big 25
Tottenham have a big squad now, yeah.
25 players are getting in top 4.
No.
25 players of Chelsea squad getting in top 4.
I don't know. Well, that's what I'm saying. If you put them in the squad...
your own point.
No, but if you... All I've said is about Liverpool have 15 players.
Okay. And I'm saying to you
that
hardly any other club, and I've already said, by the way, apart from City, besides City, hardly any other club have more than 15, 16 players that would get in the top 4 teams.
Yeah, it's hard to do that, but what I'm saying is City do
I don't know why
it,
I'm
which is
comparing
why
we have to have a 25-man squad that.
Well, you do have to compete with City, innit? You're in the same league as them. This is what I'm saying. It's going to be hard to compete with them.
We've already said City is the only team that have that as well.
Which is why they've won 5 out of the 6 last Premier Leagues.
Exactly.
So this is what we have to get to. This is what I'm trying to explain to you. You're not going to win the Premier League with having 15 players, because as soon as 3 or 4 of them get injured, like they have done, who have you got left? Your academy players, and you've got to play Milner and Henderson together.
If other teams have the same amount of injuries and the same situations as what we have, whether it's Chelsea, apart from City,
exactly.
Which was what I've said. I don't know why you keep arguing this back and forth.
I'm not arguing. I'm telling you.
We've already doesn't matter. City probably have a second 11 that get top 4.
Which is why they'll probably go on to win the Premier League.
No, I'm saying nobody else has that. So what is it? So why do I don't understand you. We can't consistently be keeping up with City. It's about time now that other clubs in the league actually start taking some points off City. City getting 96, 93, 100 points is ridiculous. And you know why that is because hardly any other teams in the league take points off them.
Well, in recent years,
when City come home and away to us, come to Liverpool or we go to Etihad, that's the only time really teams consistently take points off City. Nobody else. Everyone else has been laying down to City the past few years. That's why you're seeing them 96, 33 wins out of 38.
But that's what I'm saying. Ridiculous. This is why I think this season will be different. They've already dropped points against Newcastle.
Hopefully. So that's what I'm saying. I don't know why. We always knew that there would be a natural drop off because of the age and squad that we have already anyway. So I don't know why Liverpool is expected, as if we even have the owners that are going to back us enough to have 25 players that can all get in top 4. I'm like, nobody else has that.
No, I'm not saying they'll get in top 4. I'm saying that there's a gap.
Billionaire owners. That's why they have that. Like, and everyone has billionaire owners nowadays, but they have super billionaire owners that are just expendable cash. Doesn't matter. They don't need it back or anything like that. They don't need to earn any amount to be able to spend an amount.
But that's what I'm saying. The point I'm making is that everyone outside those 15 men, Arsenal, Chelsea, these people have good players in their 25-man squad.
Yeah.
But they're not better than City. So even when you start subbing people off on the bench, City's team's better.
Okay. Alright. Well, we already said anyway. I've already said anyway about 5 times now that City is the only team outside of the only team in fact that probably have 25 players and maybe not even that amount that are top 4 players.
Yeah, because that's what they bought
straight away,
and that's why they've won the league 5 out of 6.
So
you get it?
we have barely had that.
That's what I'm saying. We haven't had that. That's why we can't. That's why it's so hard for us to challenge. We don't have 25 players. They have 25 players.
What I'm saying to you, you're not getting the point. What I'm saying to you is we've challenged City for years now, pushed them the whole way.
Yeah, because of the 11 stay fit.
Exactly.
And that's a lot of luck.
Sometimes, well, it is, but sometimes that is all you need. And we've won the league, by the way. I don't know, everyone forgetting, but we've been half successful in this time as well.
Probably no one got injured, so it was again lucky, innit? You have to be lucky as well. They don't have to be lucky. People can get injured and they still win the league.
I disagree. I completely disagree.
I would say that they don't have to.
If you take 4, you're taking. Okay, let's take out Ruben Diaz. Yeah. Take out Ruben Diaz. Take out Edison. Take out Kevin De Bruyne. Take out Ilkay Gundogan. Take out Bernardo Silva. Take out Erling Haaland.
That's 6
players out, yeah? You think they're going to go and win the league?
I don't know if they're going to win the league, innit? But they'll still be in top 4.
And 6 players, let's say we still have top 4, okay.
Or top 2 probably, or top 3 still. Do you get it? Their defender, they've got so many centre backs. If you take out Edison, I don't really know who you have in it, to be honest with you.
Zach Steffen, I think.
If you take out Haaland, obviously they just bought him for like 160 million.
They've got this Alvarez now, so he would slot straight in.
Yeah, so Bernardo Silva, you're saying, and Gundogan from the midfield.
KDB.
And KDB's gone. You only really have...
centre back, Ruben Diaz.
Yeah, so you swap him with John Stones, Nathan Ake. Do you get? There's 2 players there that play.
I think people underestimate
Is Laporte still there?
I'm not sure, actually. People underestimate how important people like De Bruyne, Gundogan, Bernardo Silva and that are. If you take a few of them players out,
but what I'm saying
is players are expected to come in and produce the same. It's very, very.
But remember the reason why they've won the league out 5 of the 6 is because in games where they go away to, like, say for example last year Burnley or Everton or Arsenal, Well, they're not going to rest Kevin De Bruyne for Arsenal, but say someone who's a bit lower, I don't know, maybe this year Fulham. They have the chance to rest Kevin De Bruyne, bring in Jack Grealish or someone else.
We're not talking about resting. Listen, we're not
that's what I'm saying. That's what. But that's why you don't get injured. Because you rest your players. You lot haven't rested your players because the 11 played.
Yes, that's fair. But we're, as everyone is well aware, this is not new. We've known this forever now. We are not in the same position as City.
That's why I'm saying it would be really hard to push them.
We're only bigger than City club-wise. That is it.
I think there's like 4
our
teams.
Owners are a lot richer. We probably generate more money than City, but yeah, that's us. That's just the club and the fan base and everything else around the world that generates that amount of revenue, shirt sponsors, whatever else.
But that's what I'm saying. It's hard to push them, innit? Because even when you're looking at where you're going to drop points or where you're going to pick up points, City, it's hard to see where they drop points because of the fact they can rest players and still bring in players that are that type of quality. Like if we rest Odegaard and we rest Saka and we rest Jesus, who are we having? We're having a completely different up front, and we're probably not going to press the attack. We're not going to press the defense that much.
Well, people with you have Eddie.
Eddie's not the same as Jesus, but yeah.
But that's what I'm saying. You'd have Smith Rowe for Saka.
Yeah.
And you'd have that Vieira kid for Odegaard.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
You don't know what these are going to be like.
The depth is getting there, but it's not.
And that's my
not
point.
That deep.
That's my point. So Arsenal's a good example. You lot that ain't got 15, 16 players that could all play for top 4 teams.
Mm-mm.
Not immediately.
No, that's what I'm saying. There's like 4 or 5 in our team that would get. They wouldn't get in City's team.
Like if let's say let's go off into people's teams from the top 4 of last year. Like Arsenal, you can even go Arsenal and United because you guys finished 5th and 6th.
The thing is, on paper, like every position, maybe apart from one, maybe centre back and CM. No, because their CMs are better now. Maybe centre back is the only position we push them, and it's only because we got Saliba this year.
But that's what you could.
But if you go off last year, Gabriel and Ben White, there's no one that gets in the Man United team from our team. Who? Apart from Saka.
Top 4.
Oh, top 4.
Yeah.
So Tottenham, Chelsea, Liverpool, and Man City.
Anyone in your 11.
From
this year.
From this year.
Yeah, I'm talking about. Look at your team from this year. Would anyone in your team from this year get in the top 4 from last year? Starting.
Yeah, so like people like Aaron Ramsdale, I think is better than Lloris, but people would argue that. I think his distribution and his
people would always just.
I
agree with it, but people will always just argue and say, "Oh,
and then the only people
don't disrespect them."
The only people I can say that would get in the teams maybe are the wingers that perform so well, like Martinelli, Smith Rowe, Odegaard, Saka. Gabriel Jesus gets in it apart from City. If you lot don't have Nunes, he gets in your team, which he got sent off, and he would have been straight in your team if you would have had Gabriel.
No, I'm not talking about Liverpool. I'm talking about. That's what I'm saying. I'm talking about teams. Your team who was not in top 4 last year, you've now bought a few players. You want to push top 4 this year. Do you think give me as many players as you can if you can think about all the top 4 teams from last year. Who of your players is getting into any of them teams starting?
Probably Saka.
For who?
This is what I mean, innit? When you start going into the granular level, who does he get in, innit? Saka, I would say Saka gets in Tottenham's team. I'd say Saka gets in Chelsea's team as well. And I'd say it depending on if they turned up on if Salah had a bad game and Saka had a good game, you'd want Saka. But you can't guess that before the game. So Saka's still better than Salah.
No, we have to just take it as from what you saw last year.
My personal opinion, Saka does more on the pitch than Jack Grealish, so he gets in Man City's team because he's a winger.
Well, Grealish doesn't even start.
Well then, who would start for Man City last year?
Mahrez, Bernardo Silva, Foden, I guess. One of them 3.
I would say for what Saka's done in a team that's had way less of the ball, he's done more than Phil Foden in terms of assists and goals.
You could argue that. I mean,
and second assists and stuff like that. But does he get into the team? I don't know. But he definitely gets into Chelsea and Tottenham.
It's not clear. It's not
clear. It's not clear. That's what I'm saying. With Man City, there's no point even doing that because they've got 3 of the keepers.
You could argue. Do you know what? With Jesus' current form, and I'm only going off current form because he was in a City team that dominated Prem for years, and he didn't manage to score more than 15 when they scored like 100.
I honestly think that Pep even knew Gabriel Jesus is not that system player. Gabriel Jesus has now come to Arsenal, the main man, and he pushes people off the ball. He didn't do that at City. He just waited for the ball to get to him.
It's very strange.
Now he's going to collect the ball. He's barging defenders. He's moving play forward. He looks
a lot different than he did at City.
That's right. He's
he looks a lot more energetic.
He's not City.
He was quite energetic, but now he's fully bullying people, and he was always
the one getting bullied. Yeah, well, I mean that's why in Arsenal he works in our system, but I don't think he wasn't a Man City player because. To be a Man City player, you have to kind of have either sheer quality like Haaland, and I would say Haaland's better than Jesus.
Yeah.
From going off the goals he scored in Germany, I would say that. Who knows if they do it in the Prem? Gabriel Jesus might score more goals there. You never know.
But we were saying this before, but well, we hope though. Anyway,
that's what I'm saying. We weren't saying it before because of just how big and strong Haaland is, and his acceleration's mad. But from the way we've started,
that's what I'm saying.
I think all we can do is continue to win.
From the way you've started. You could argue that Jesus gets in, I would say, Chelsea's team, in my opinion, up front.
Up front, yeah.
Maybe even ours, up front.
That's what I'm saying. If you don't have Nuno, and he might even be better than Nuno, you would definitely play him. Like in the Man United game, if you had him...
And I love Jota as well. But I'm talking about this current Jesus, the energy, he would seem like he would fit, as a number 9, he would fit well in the Liverpool team.
Yeah.
With the energy that he's bringing.
Yeah, because he would be a similar... Actually, to be fair. Be a similar player to Luis Diaz in terms of the amount of energy that he's given on the pitch, and that's what you want to see.
Number 9,
yeah, and he'll score.
We haven't had a number 9.
He's better than Firmino, isn't it?
Oh yeah.
He does more than Firmino, should I say, on the pitch, and he moves about, links up play.
He's definitely got a lot more. He's got more than Firmino, I would say. Firmino's just a very skilled player. He's very hard. He works hard as well, but I think Jesus can probably do a bit more than Firmino.
And then you said that you're probably not going to buy anyone. Do you think you need to buy someone? And then what position would you buy?
Definitely. I mean, we've needed to buy for years. Like Thiago when he came in, fantastic, brilliant. Loved that he was signed. Excited that he was joining us. But then it didn't take long before he got injured, and then it was clear that he can't stay fit for prolonged periods of time, innit?
Yeah.
Like, consistently, he can't, and he's over 30 now and stuff. So you can't. We shouldn't really expect and put all of this on these players, even like Henderson as well. Henderson is starting to show some signs of weakness now in terms of injuries. So we've needed to sign someone else. It looks like everyone's always on this buzz about, Bellingham, don't worry, Bellingham next year is done. Bellingham next year is done.
You can go City, you can go Chelsea.
Exactly, we just need to have one bad year when we
don't qualify
and don't come into Champions League. It's easily possible with, I think, to be honest, the Prem's improving its quality overall. Everyone's getting better as well. So we only need to have one bad year, finish 6th, just outside of Champions League, and then Bellingham is like easier option, City, or even just Real Madrid. Why not go and live in Spain for a few years? You could even still come back to the Premier League. Like, do you know what I mean?
I think from looking at the Liverpool team, and I've watched all the games that Liverpool have played, maybe apart from the second one, but looking at your defence looks decent. Van Dijk needs to wake up. I don't know what happened at the Man United game, but he needs to wake up. But the defence looks decent for me. Even if you lose Matip, you bring in Joe Gomez. Even if you lose Joe Gomez, you got Konate. So you got Konate and Virgil. Do you get what I mean?
I was not out there. The defence was poor. Actually, the back 4 against United was poor, in my opinion.
Yeah, 100. Well, it was poor. Yeah. It was. That's what I'm saying. But I think they just had a bad game.
None of them were up for it. But exactly, you can say that. We've
just had a bad game.
They've been at a very good level. That back 4, that same back 4 actually from like 3-4 years
ago.
That's
right. And even looking at the keeper, you've got 5 players that are solid.
Yeah, they were at a good level.
As soon as you went into that midfield, this is what I'm talking about, the gap between them. There's some teams in the bottom half them.
It's like Gomez and Virgil were expected to do their job, and then what the midfielders were supposed to do, link in play with the attackers.
Milner,
there's no one in the midfield. There was no one there.
Milner is stealing a living, bro. 150 grand a week for what? He broke up the play for Man United more than they broke up the play.
He's getting his loyalty contract in it.
That's fine. Stick him on the bench. Leave him on the bench then. Play the youngsters.
This is what I say. This is what I would say in it. I don't like. If we're at a stage of kind of rebuilding and trying something, like trying a different approach by signing Núñez, someone who's not exactly aligned with what we usually do, the type of player we usually sign, selling Mane and a couple other players, whatever else, then why not give these young players a full... You gave Trent a young go because of injuries.
And now look
and
at
stuff like that. Exactly. And straight away, he pretty much cemented his place from 18, 19.
That's what I'm saying.
It's who's to say that a young centre mid can't come in and do the same thing?
The thing is, I think it's a bit unfair to Harvey Elliott in that midfield because
100%.
that's not his role to do that. And he should have Fabinho, and in my opinion, no one else that's in your squad right now can stand next to Fabinho, apart from Thiago, and he always gets injured, so he's not going to give you 30 a game. So you have to make a
Fabinho's
sign.
getting injured a bit.
So you have to make a sign.
He's like 29 or nearly 30, so you're just coming up here.
So this is where I'm saying there's the gaps. The two midfielders there. Okay, you play Harvey Elliott, fair enough. If Harvey Elliott drifts out of the game, like Saka does sometimes, you get nothing from them.
It's hard.
You get nothing from them. And that's a player on the pitch that you've lost him.
Yeah.
And then if you've got Milner...
At the same time, I think, like I was saying, it's not fair on Elliott. Like, people just say that midfield's terrible when you're looking at that midfield three.
But I was just talking about Hendo and Milner.
Exactly, that's what I'm talking about as well. Elliott was the only one that showed
passing
in
forward.
that game. He was the only one that, but everyone else would just, and Elliott will get slaughtered almost because of being in that free.
That's what I'm saying. But this is where the gap is.
It's difficult again, especially with already having someone like Elliott in there. It's difficult to put two young centre mids in there. Do you know what I mean? Because you would probably leave Henderson. I would personally leave Henderson. I would leave Milner out, put Henderson with Elliott. And if you're going to put another young player in, it's a bit like you don't.
That's what I'm saying.
Do you not? That's
what I'm saying. Do you not have the confidence in Fabinho or Curtis Jones sitting next to Fabinho with then Harvey Elliott and Thiago swapping? Because that's how your players get injured. You play too many of your good ones together.
But but the thing is, over recent years, we've shown that the players outside of the starting 11, starting whatever, like I don't know what it is, but they don't step up. Whether they're not at the level, they don't step up.
That's the gap.
They don't come in and like want to win their place or want to cement their place.
That's the gap. That's what I'm saying. That's where the gap is.
Even players like Keita. Like Keita's a 50. He's more expensive. He was more expensive than Fabinho, I think.
I don't even think about that guy.
So it's just like, and he's never really come in and cemented his place. Chamberlain's the same.
I forgot about that geezer as well.
But that's what I'm saying. This is what I'm saying. There's two experienced centre midfielders,
but not good enough, innit?
Loads for their countries, like loads in the Premier League, loads in top clubs, and they just come in and just like half-assed performances.
But that's what I'm saying. This is where it's either them that, because I can't say that your scouting system's bad, because the amount of players that you lot have found for 2 million, like Robbo and stuff like that, and you've gone out and Thing looks good, Darwin looks good, looks a bit bumbly. Diaz,
he's a lot bumbly.
Diaz is very good. Carvalho looks very good. Like your scouting's been pretty decent. Canate's decent.
We've really got it wrong, really, which is why you kind of have to sometimes sit back and just be like, all right, let's trust them in it, because look at the signings that have actually been brought in and have done well. The
issue with Liverpool that I see is not your scouting network and your signings, it's letting them shit people go. And that's what Arteta's trying to do with Arsenal now. As in, all right, Milner, we don't need you, please go. Yeah. Henderson, go to Southampton, sell him for 15 mil, let him play next to Ward-Prowse. Do you get what I mean though?
He's not getting nowhere.
But like, you need to start pushing these, like we have Xhaka in it. For as many people that say they love Xhaka, there's a person in the world that is a football player that can do Xhaka's job and has the talent to pass the ball forward every single time. Yeah? But he's not doing that at the moment. And Liverpool have that as well.
It's not always about talent. We know it's not always about talent. It's not always about, well, sometimes not even hard work, because at the same time you can work hard, but if you're not, if you're just running around like a headless chicken.
Like Milner was doing against Man United.
Yes,
did nothing.
Pretty much always the case.
You had Milner, Henderson, Trenty arguably, Van Dijk pretty much nowhere, and you had Firmino. You had 4 or 5 players that pretty much were non-existent in that game. I can't even remember Firmino's name.
The whole team was non-existent in that game.
Nah, I think Harvey Elliott was doing his most. Salah couldn't play a 5-yard pass, and Diaz was running around again. But it's unfair to Diaz, because all he needs is that midfielder that can play him in. Because you can see he's making the runs off the ball, but no one can find him because they haven't got the quality.
Robertson wasn't getting up high enough to support him a lot of the time.
And that's what I'm saying.
Out on his own, and he was getting. There was a couple of decisions there. Loads of times he was getting pulled like from pillar to post by Dalot. Because the crowd was all up and it was like, you're just not going to give a free kick.
Yeah, he's not going to give it. There was loads of times that he actually pulled his shirt, but the ref didn't give it.
But then obviously Trent does the same thing, and it's a yellow at the earliest. chance, basically.
Yeah, of course, but that's Old Trafford and that's what happens there. But at the same time, when you look at that midfield, yeah, it's sad to say, even when you look at ours, if you pick up one player from Man City, take your pick, and drop them in, they do a better job.
Oh, yeah,
Gundogan, Rodri, these people, De Bruyne.
See, Man City, we need to stop using Man City as an example.
No, but that's the league we're playing in.
No, but I'm saying that's like they're the league champions, so you should expect that. That's not like a.
No, but we were the league champions like 15 years ago.
Okay, and but my point is, you take anyone from your team and drop them in, they improve.
Of course, but I'm talking about I'm talking about improve drastically. Like if you drop Rodri in that team instead of Henderson, you improve drastically. If you drop Kevin De Bruyne
instead of Fabinho, it doesn't improve drastically for me. And that's our team, innit? If we're gonna talk about our team, we're talking about right now because that's what the injuries we have. But Rodri doesn't drastically improve if he plays it instead of Fabinho.
I think he does.
No, he doesn't. He simply doesn't.
I think he does,
He simply doesn't.
I think he does. He's dirty and he breaks up the play way more than Fabinho.
No, he doesn't. He doesn't do it drastic. He's not drastically better than Fabinho. That's just not true, in my opinion. Well, again, it's all opinion.
I've watched him in the stadium.
If you're talking about De Bruyne or someone like that, even Gundogan or Bernardo Silva or someone like that, that's fine. But Fabinho and Rodri are, for me, close and far apart the best two defensive midfielders in the Prem.
I don't know, innit?
That's my opinion.
I've watched him at the Arsenal stadium, and what I watched Fabinho do in comparison to what Rodri did, fucking hell. That was a joke watching that Man City team play against us. We nearly outdone them, and they still got over the line, and Rodri scored the winner.
You know what Rodri...
Fabinho is not going to score the winner.
Rodri's like the most protected player.
Yeah, we know this, innit? We know this, but...
So he gets away with loads of stuff. If he didn't get away with loads of stuff, he would get more yellows, he would probably get sent off more, which, again, he would go missing for more games.
But that's just a bias. That's just a bias that always happens in the Prem with whatever team's winning.
I think.
You know what I mean?
I don't think Rodri's drastically better than Fabinho. I completely disagree with that.
I think. Well, if he's not drastically better than Fabinho, he's drastically better than all the other CDMs in the league, isn't it?
That was what I was saying, though. That's what I said. Fabinho and Rodri are close together, and I can't really choose between them. Even as a biased Liverpool fan, I wouldn't be able to choose between the two of them. But they're far apart from the other DMs in the league.
Yeah, there's people like Ndidi and stuff.
You can talk about centre mids all day. Yes, 100%. I agree with you. DMs, I disagree with that one completely. There's no way Fabinho is drastically worse than Rodri. No.
I think in terms of the quality of the passes and the quality of what Rodri brings, I would say he is in it, because I've watched many games where Fabinho's misplaced a 5-yard pass and his head's gone, and then he's missing for the next 10 minutes, and then he gets a yellow. Do you get what I mean?
No, I don't get what you mean.
That's your personal opinion, isn't it?
Exactly. Yeah, that's all it is.
And that's what football is, isn't it? So, but I would say that Liverpool, there's still a gap, and Arsenal, there's still a gap.
There's always
Tottenham,
been a gap.
There's a gap. All of them is a gap.
There's always been a gap. We've been the only team that's been able to close it with like you're saying, an 11, which is absolutely right. It is an 11.
And I hope you didn't cheat, because if you cheated and it comes out that you've been cheating, come on, give it a rest. I hope you didn't, innit? Because if you did, then it just means that the gap's even higher. The gap's even more between.
There's plenty more evidence where you could argue that City have paid off someone to get over the line in games. Come on.
Yeah, no, I'm not talking about the referees, I'm talking about the players, isn't it? But
that's nonsense.
City, the thing is, we can say as much about City and how many good players they have, but I still think even though that we have got we've got 2 of their players in their B team basically, it's made our team better. That just tells you how big the gap is.
Of course, exactly. That
actually tells you how big the gap is.
Yeah.
Which is sad.
And that was kind of back to my point as well. That we've been the only team that's been able to compete with City, and bar City, there's no other team that have this big, amazing squad, in my opinion, where every player can chop and change and bring the exact same quality that the other player comes out.
Yeah, but that's football now, isn't it? Because the money that's involved in it. There's not that much money at City, innit? But what I'm saying is that's the gap between everyone. That's the team. We're playing in the same league as them, innit? They're not in a different league than us. They're in the Premier League, innit?
Well, without us for the past 5-6 years, it would be like the French league. City would have won it in March, February, every year, without fail. It would have been so easy.
Maybe, innit?
They would treat the Prem like the French league.
Maybe, innit? Maybe. But I think because because you're challenging and you've put up a fight, now other teams have had time to rebuild, and then other teams have sold each other.
That's the thing as well. City can always. It doesn't matter. Teams can rebuild. City will be the best team in the league. Yeah. Teams will go in the summer, rebuild, and improve their level from being 5th, 6th, whatever, to maybe a top 14. City are still the best team in the league. They'll go and buy Haaland, players like that, and still go on and be better. Maybe not fully better than what they were, but their striking options are better than it was last year. That's one way that they've improved, and they're already the best team in the league. So they're still improving whilst being the best team in the league.
Yeah, because they have the money to do so, and they don't have to sell players to do it.
Exactly. We don't.
But that's what I'm saying.
We are not the same as them. We don't have that luxury.
But that's what I'm saying. Our scouting network, our youth system, all these things have to be better in terms of trying to challenge them, because we're never going to have the same money as them. Innit? Newcastle do now; they have more than them.
But again, they have to work that one out.
Well, so let's see how many years it takes Newcastle to be in top 4. And if they start getting in top 4 and start challenging City, then you're just going to be like, all right, cool, them two teams are going to go now. We're not going to be able to catch them two.
Basically, that's most likely what would happen. Yeah.
Unless, like you've done with your scouting network and your academy, you've brought good players and you've brought good players through.
To get it right, but then we've also, you could argue that we've been lucky as well. It's like, who knows what Van Dijk might have turned out like. Alisson could have turned out different. Salah could not score goals, and then if he without goals from Salah, he's like.
But that's why I don't like City because of what they've done, but I still respect them somewhat because you still have to spend the money correctly.
Exactly, that's the thing.
They could have got it all wrong, which is what United have done.
Again, you go back to the point, they can get it wrong, and it doesn't matter. In January, they'll fix it.
So can United though.
Well, United have spent just as much.
Right? They've spent just as much, and they're nowhere near them. If anything, you're closer. Chelsea are closer. Tottenham.
But then they've not consistently had the right manager in for years. They probably haven't had the right people in and around the club. Like, it's not always just about buying players, isn't it?
There's loads of things that go hand in hand with what like makes a football club successful. But that's the thing. If you have someone like who has a winning formula like Pep, he brings all those people in.
Exactly.
He brings the medical staff and he brings these scouts and coaches.
Maybe not even him, but I know. Yeah, they would they have the money anyway to buy the best in class. Really, they can say, all right, who has the best? Who's the best recruitment analyst or whatever else? Let's get him in.
But that's what I'm saying.
Go from there. They can just keep doing it, and that's way cheaper than buying players. You could buy a whole backroom staff for the same price as one player.
Well, yeah.
The whole year, or even their whole contract, basically.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. For an Arsenal fan now, only 3 games in, there's not really that much of the season gone. I think if anyone in the Premier League is above City for any amount of time, they should clap themselves on the back because they don't have the same amount of money.
Everton should clap themselves on the back.
For 4 games, yeah.
And avoid relegation.
For 4 games, isn't it? They should. Do you not think so?
No.
Why not?
Because it's the games. It doesn't matter about 4 games. The Prem doesn't matter about 4 games. It matters about the whole season. You can clap yourself and pat yourself on the back.
For the first 4 games, you can, yeah.
Okay.
Everton should have. And the thing is, if they would have been patting themselves.
So what do you say? What do you say when you go from in Everton's case, for example, you win the first 4 games and then you end up just scraping relegation at the end of the year? What do you say about that?
There's 34 games difference in that. That's what I'd say. There's 4 games that you should have continued.
What means more, 4 games or 34?
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying if anyone's above City at any point, they should pat themselves on the back because they don't have the same resources.
I disagree anyway because at the same time, people.
I don't know why you would disagree.
People play at 12:30 in the afternoon. City play at 5:30. You could be at top for an hour. Should you clap yourself on the back for that?
No, we're talking about the end of the game week, isn't it? After the first 4 game weeks, Everton were top, no?
You can only it's whatever. You can pat yourself on the back anyway because you've won 3 games.
100%.
You've got a 100% record.
No, as in that it doesn't matter about
Don't
that.
worry about anyone else. You shouldn't worry about anyone else.
No, but you
worry
have
about keep winning yourself. That's it.
Yeah,
the only way you win is by not worrying about anyone else. You focus on your games, and all you do is focus on winning every single one of them games to the best of your ability. That's it. When you start focusing, what's City doing? What is this team doing? No, don't worry about none of that. You can only control your game. So I don't know why everyone's always so worried about, it's amazing that we're above City. Well, do you have the heart to win? Do you want to win? Because if you do, then
clearly,
naturally,
because you're there, isn't it?
Well, naturally, at points you're going to be above City. The only thing that matters is the end of the season, in my opinion.
Yeah, of course.
You can clap as much as you want and
of
praise
course,
it.
but throughout the season, what are you just going to do? Nothing. or you're going to actually try and push on?
Yes, exactly. You keep focusing on winning. You don't focus
so
on
after the third
game,
when you're on the fourth game, you say, how are we going to play? Like we played the other 3 games because we won.
Yes, you don't.
Then you go to the 5th game. And
Why City's not in that conversation, are they?
No, I'm not saying that they are. I'm just saying that you should. No, I'm saying that you should be proud of where you are and push on from there, because you don't have the same resources.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
That's what you should do. Obviously, you might not feel like that now because you're nowhere near. But Arsenal fans can say that.
Okay. And my point is, again, Everton fans could say that last year.
Yeah.
Clearly.
But when it came to the end of the season, but I don't know how do you know how the table's going to finish this year?
No.
Exactly. So you have to wait for it.
Exactly.
We know what happened last year. 4 games in Everton were top, and then by the end of the season they were fighting relegation. Okay. But we don't know.
Of course, recency bias. You don't think that Everton fans or whoever else will go and look at Everton and think, Everton won their first 4 games. Do you know what? Everton looking decent, you know. They could be pushing Europe.
Depending on the games they play. Depending on the games they play.
And talk in the first month of the season, and the season's over.
Who did they play?
I don't know.
That's what I'm saying. If they had easy games where they should win, then you should win the games, isn't it? It's like you saying you should have 6 points now. You don't have 6 points though.
We should have had
but
9
you should
points.
though, innit?
We should have 9
Yeah, but you don't.
If buts and maybe it doesn't matter.
Exactly. But that's what I'm saying.
They did have 4 wins.
Yeah.
And it went nowhere. So
yeah, because they probably started.
Recency bias is exactly that. Just keep focusing on winning your next game. That's it. It's as simple as that. I don't know why everyone it's amazing that we've got the season's not over. You've played 3 games.
Yeah, that's fine, but that's all we can go off, though, isn't it? It's 3 games, isn't it? We've got a 100% record. The only team that have a 100% record. Is it going to be 100% next week? We don't know. Is it going to be 100% on Saturday?
Exactly.
We don't know. Are we going to win?
And then where do you go from there?
You keep playing, innit?
But that's what I'm. So people. This is the point. Like people will always just go, oh, recency. We're winning. We've won 3 games in a row. If you go and lose to Fulham on the weekend, you're going to see a massive. Do you think you're going to see a massive change in attitude from everyone, from fans, from players?
No, if you lose to Fulham and you played poorly, then yeah, there should be a change in attitude in terms of you shouldn't feel like you should be able to just turn up and win. You can't have complacency. Like, just because you're turning up to Fulham doesn't mean you shouldn't play the same way that you're going to play against City.
But humans can have off days. That happens.
Yeah, look, of course.
And Fulham can play out their skin. That happens as well.
That's why
I'm still like, listen, even if you lot lose to Fulham on the weekend, it's not the end of the world.
No, of course not. It doesn't matter.
That's why, but people, you'll get clowned. Say, oh, see, the wheels will come off again. But it's just 1 game. Who's to say that you lot can't lose against Fulham and then not lose for the rest of the year?
No, of course, isn't it? But what you're saying is play each game at a time.
Yes.
But at the same time, you're saying it doesn't matter what happens in the last game. But you have to play each game at a time. It doesn't matter what happens this early. You shouldn't worry about stuff this early.
But
the season starts, though, isn't it? The season starts from somewhere and ends somewhere. Do you get it? That's what I'm trying to say. Like, if you're just playing 3 games, it doesn't matter that you've won the 3 games. You won the last game. Doesn't matter about 3 games.
You don't need to. You don't even worry about the last game.
Why not? You take positives and negatives from it.
Yeah, but it's done. You go on to the next game. You don't think about the past.
No, I know what you're saying. But there's like Arsenal fans that'll be buzzing now about the fact that
you should be. There's a feel-good factor. You've not lost a game yet, and that's good. But don't worry about that, because people would argue there's teams that you should win against.
No, of course, that's what I'm saying.
Other teams have played games against teams they should win against. They haven't, in our case, for example. But it's not to say that we won't be ahead of you at the end of the year. Just because you won the first 3 games 100% record, that doesn't mean anything.
No, it's only 9 points, isn't it?
It's
9 points.
It's just good. That's it. It's good for the club. It's good for morale. It's good for fans that the season gets off to a good start. You've eased your way into the season now. 3 wins. Let's see where you can actually take it now.
But I'm saying I'm not one of those Arsenal fans that I'll be blindly confident, because that's how football fans are, innit? Like, I'll tell you, we're going to beat Liverpool this year. We're going to beat City. We're going to beat United. We're going to beat Chelsea. Because that's how you should feel, innit?
Okay, but
if your team's giving you the confidence,
if you say that at the start of the season, that's blindly confident. Now I think there's some reasoning behind it. You could say there's some reasoning behind it.
But yeah, I would
say
that.
If you say right now, if we play our team that played United against you lot, I think we lose.
Yeah, you will lose.
But again, these are all if buts and maybes. We don't know who's going to be back by that time or whatever else. But of course, everyone based on these first 3 games, and yourself, for example, you'll say, I think we will beat Liverpool. Which is fine. You should have that belief in it.
Yeah, you should have that confidence.
Yeah.
But that's why football fans are the way football fans are on it. Why they're fickle and why stuff changes from game to game. Because one game you can be playing, everyone can be on the same page, like the Bournemouth game or whatever.
Yeah.
But these are games where even if everyone's kind of having an off day, as Arsenal Football Club, you should still win.
Well, yeah.
Even if you win 1-0, it doesn't matter. You've got the 3 points, innit? Win 6-0 or 1-0, it doesn't matter. You've got the 3 points. But where Arsenal fans, I think, like fall down sometimes is where they get too excited. Like last year, I said from the start of the season to everyone, we are finishing 5th or 6th. Even when it got to March, February, I was telling everyone, when we play Tottenham, we're going to bottle it. Because that's what that team looked like last year, bottle jobs. This year, I'm looking at them and I'm thinking, no, someone has to beat us.
A big part of it was people getting injured. Some players coming out at a key part of the season.
But again, that's no one else's fault apart from Arsenal.
Yeah,
we don't have the players to replace them.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Or have a better youth.
There were players to replace them, but they're not the quality in it.
Do you get it? So, or make your youth system better so that when you're really, really good player of like 3 or 4 years,
youth players barely get it. I don't know, academies and that, it's like, it seems like a waste a lot of the time because...
Well, they get filtered down to the lower leagues, and that's what happens most of the time.
Eventually, yeah.
And then you get 1 or 2 gems that come through.
That's it.
Out like in a long time as well. Like if you look at academies and look at Arsenal and see how many real gems have come out, you're probably looking at
you can count probably
Saka and Emil Smith Rowe within the last 5 years. Probably. Do you get what I mean? And Eddie's done all right for us.
For Liverpool, I'm talking about for Liverpool.
For Liverpool, yeah, there's only really been Trent, Harvey Elliott's decent, and that's about it.
Trent, I'm even going back. So like Trent, Gerrard, could argue Carragher. I mean, it was more of a man of the people than a top player. You know, I think his desire and his work rate and effort made him a top player, but he's not that upper echelon of centre back. He never was, in my opinion.
No, and do you know what the worst thing is? Even when you look at someone who has all the resources and all the money, Man City, Phil Foden's one geezer that's come through.
Yeah.
And everyone else they bought for 60, 70, 50 million. So even with someone that has that amount of money and that amount of resources and that amount of pool...
They don't believe that. They must not believe that these other players are at the level though, because Foden was still 17, 18 getting chances. You know what I mean? But there's 20-year-olds that still play, 21, 22-year-olds that still play in the under 23s.
Exactly.
That will never get a look in.
So are they not good enough for...
So how long do we keep these players, like, before we say they're not Liverpool, or they're not Arsenal, or they're not City level? So what do we do with them?
That's what I'm
saying.
They're
22, 23 years of old.
That's who ends up playing for Crawley Town and these teams and that.
Doesn't make sense, man.
That's what happens, isn't it? But yeah, even Man City struggle to bring academy players through in it, so it's hard to do it anyway.
But they're fair, obviously, listen. They're a baby club, innit? Their club's about 10 years old now or something.
I know, and they've nearly got more Prems than us, or they probably do have more Prems than us already.
But that's why, from the academy point of view,
it's quite hard.
Yeah, they've invested so much money and stuff, even into facilities and stuff like that. So naturally, ability levels will increase, but they need I think like 10, 15 years to be able to have academies similar to like your West Ham, for example. West Ham produce really good players. Southampton, they're like really good academies. Stuff for players like places like that.
It's true, but I think this season it looks alright from what I've seen on the pitch, and the thing I was saying to you before is last year, I'm speaking about Arsenal here because Liverpool kind of just went on a run and beat everyone. They had a few losses and draws, but they pretty much beat everyone else in it. But when I look at Arsenal, there's a lot of games last year where we're already beaten. Like we go to the Etihad, we've lost in it. We go to Anfield, we've lost in it.
Yeah.
We go to Old Trafford, we've lost. But now I'm looking at the team and I'm thinking, no, they have to beat us on the pitch now. They have to actually play us on the pitch and beat the 11 players there. It's not done before the game starts.
It's true.
Like I'm even thinking we go to Anfield and we win this year. Why not? We've never done it before. You have to start winning there. You have to go OT and win. We have to go Etihad and win.
Worry about your home form.
That's what I'm saying. And that's a given.
Lost to us.
That's a given.
Last year.
The home form we have to win.
Last year. Beat these teams at home, so your fans get the confidence. Then you won't worry about losing. You won't worry as much about losing against City and Liverpool or United away from home.
No, that's what. But I'm saying if we do that, if we beat you away, more likely than not we're going to beat you at home.
Would you prefer to beat us at Anfield or at Emirates?
Both.
No. Would you prefer to beat us at Emirates or Anfield?
Well,
At
this
Anfield
season.
or Emirates, yes. You pick
This
one,
season,
not both. You pick
Anfield.
one.
Because that's a big statement.
Okay.
Because if we lose at the Emirates, I don't care. We beat you at Emirates before. We barely beat you at Anfield.
But
The same as OT and the same as Etihad.
so
I'd rather win there.
if you beat us at Anfield, we beat you at Emirates, you wouldn't care. You'd be like, you'd be happier with.
No, I wouldn't be happier, but I would be.
you're saying you prefer.
I'd prefer the Anfield one this year. Do you know why? Because we haven't beat you there for a long time, and it's about. But again, that's personal opinions to football fans, isn't it?
Yeah.
I would love to win at Anfield because we haven't done it. We beat you at the Emirates a long time ago, but we beat you at Emirates. I don't think we beat you at Anfield that many times. The same as the Etihad in the last 6 years.
That's what I'm saying. The onus is on the home team, innit? So you should be worrying more about your home form.
No, but that's a given. If we're beating you away, I'm saying we're beating you at home as well. That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
Do you get what I mean? I want to beat you away because I know we're beating you at home. That's my thinking in my head as a football fan. Do you get it? Do you not get what I mean?
I know what you mean.
Yeah, because if we beat you at Anfield, are we not beating you at Emirates as well?
No, it's not.
It's not a given, but I'm saying you should be winning at home anyway. Innit? And if you win away, then wonderful, innit? Because your home fans are way less than your fans are way less than the fans that are there. If you can do it just on the pitch, don't even worry about the fans, then more likely than not, when you have all of us cheering you on, you're going to win at home as well.
You would think so. Then.
That's what I'm saying, innit? The home advantage is decent, and I think if we beat
home first.
you have to check in it. I can't remember. I think you lot might be. I actually don't even know. I know our October. I'm not saying nothing until October comes, innit?
That's what I'm saying.
When October comes,
you'll do it well, and this is the thing. Actually, this is a good thing as well because listen, if you want to get top 4, it's not even about beating the better teams. Like we're not even in that. I wouldn't even put ourselves in that category right now.
Not right now. No, your form is horrible.
If you're just talking about, let's say, Tottenham and Chelsea, Tottenham and Man City, for example, for now, Chelsea maybe even. If you think about them teams, you don't need to beat those teams to get top 4. It's everyone else around.
No, we need to beat everyone else. Yeah.
Like, do you know what I mean? So you can build up a good enough base, like put enough belief into the fans in these early games, in the early months, that once you get to October, you have that feel-good factor going into those big games and thinking, why can't we win these games? There's no reason why we can't.
That's what I'm saying.
These games.
That's what I'm saying. That's what
we've got the right mentality. We've got the right players. Everyone's fit. Everyone's healthy. Everyone's happy, playing some of their best football. Why can't we now go and win these games?
That's what I'm saying.
You just have to have that belief and that mentality in it, really. But that comes with consistently winning and consistently playing, performing for each other as a team.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
It's
That's
not about individual
what
performances, which is the difference now with Arsenal that I see personally. Before, for me, it felt more like some individual performances either hindering you or getting you over the line type thing. Whereas now it's more of a team performance where you're seeing goals from all over the pitch and stuff.
That's what I'm saying.
And
that's
you're
why
seeing a lot less goals conceded as well.
A lot less goals conceded. That's why I think Liverpool,
But like I said, it's just started.
That's what I'm saying. But Liverpool under Jurgen Klopp, for me, that team struggles if it doesn't have that system. Like those players on paper, when I look at them,